The year 2024 begins with the ominous sign of great yin misfortune, and by 2025, there will be a change in China's leadership. This is the latest prophecy from Indian mystic Anan, conveyed through spirit mediumship. More than half of 2024 has passed with countless upheavals, natural disasters, epidemics, conflicts, human-caused catastrophes, and other abnormal phenomena. What other disasters could possibly occur in the remaining months of 2024? It is evident that recently, the epicenter of extreme natural phenomena has been concentrated in mainland China. From pandemics to floods, droughts, political tensions, and military conflicts. And most recently, the dam breach at Nuk Not Lake occurred for the second time, causing particularly severe consequences for the area. So, what is the underlying cause of these anomalous phenomena? Which prophecies from birds are gradually coming true? And where is China's destiny ultimately headed? Please join us for the next episode. Remember to hit like and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the next exciting videos on the Ancient World channel. Right at the start of 2024, we witnessed the world entering a year of unprecedented turbulence. Currently, both natural disasters and human behavior are in a rather unstable phase. These signs are clearly evident through a series of consecutive earthquakes, rampant epidemics everywhere, a severely deteriorating economy, along with prolonged and relentless conflicts and wars. The Indian prodigy had early on warned that factors such as the shifting of the Earth's crust and the collision of continental plates could cause significant impacts. This core will gradually lead to the emergence of abnormal phenomena on the planet. These phenomena will not disappear in the short term but will instead peak around 2024-2025. Notably, in August 2024, Taiwan may experience a series of consecutive earthquakes. Following the 7.2 magnitude earthquake that struck Taiwan on April 3, numerous small aftershocks have occurred continuously. Next, on April 27, two earthquakes occurred with magnitudes of 6.1 and 5.8 on the Richter scale, respectively. More than 10 other earthquakes also occurred in Hualien County, proving Anan's prediction had come true. Anan also warned that regions such as Taiwan, the US, China, and Japan should prepare for strong undersea earthquakes as well as maritime disputes. Anan also reminded everyone to stay vigilant against extreme weather phenomena such as erratic sunshine and rain, flash floods, droughts, and even volcanic eruptions. Anan believes the reason is due to the influence of a rare alignment between Saturn, Jupiter, the Moon, and Rahu. The Earth will continue to be affected by negative energy, while numerous strong earthquakes with magnitudes above 7.2 on the Richter scale will occur worldwide this year. On the afternoon of July 5, the dike breach at Dongjing Lake in Hunan Province sounded an alarm about the potential disasters China may face. The aftermath of the July 5 incident forced nearly 6,000 residents to evacuate. More than 2,000 local rescue workers and 610 boats were mobilized to carry out emergency rescue operations, aiming to quickly address the dike breach incident. At around 10 p.m. on July 5, the breached section of the dike was 8 meters deep and stretched approximately 150 meters. Then, the embankment continued to break further, bringing the total length of the damaged section requiring repairs to approximately 225 meters. On the afternoon of July 6, heavy rain caused flooding in several areas, covering up to 46 square kilometers. At 3 p.m. on July 7, the rescue team used all available materials to reinforce approximately 87 meters of the embankment at Dongjing Lake. By July 8, residents affected by the levee breach had been relocated to the resettlement area in Warong County, Yueyang City, Hunan Province. Here, they receive medical support, clothing, food, and safe shelter until the dike repairs are completed. On July 9, local authorities announced the successful repair of a dike breach at Lake Nuk Not, the country's second-largest lake, by the end of the previous day. The authorities are working on draining water from flooded areas while minimizing the damage caused by the floods. Speaking about the flood situation in Hunan, Chinese President Xi Jinping emphasized the need to enhance rescue efforts and support for people in disaster-stricken areas. To protect the lives and property of the people, China's Emergency Management Department has deployed over 800 personnel, 150 vehicles, and dozens of boats to the site to address the dike breach and support flood rescue efforts. Central agencies have spent 540 million yuan, equivalent to nearly 2 trillion Vietnamese dongs, to support disaster relief efforts in localities. To support affected residents during evacuation and resettlement. Besides Hunan, many other vast areas in China have also endured prolonged heavy rains since the flood season began. This could pose a significant risk to the local levee system and water reservoirs. Government agencies responsible for meteorology, irrigation, natural resources, and urban and rural development. Flood control guidelines have been issued for 18 areas affected by heavy rainfall, including Hunan, Shandong, Henan, and Shaanxi. The China Meteorological Administration and the country's Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Affairs have issued a warning notice stating that many areas, including the Sichuan Basin in the southwest, will experience heavy rainfall next week. Agricultural land is at risk of flooding. The Sichuan Basin is one of China's largest rice granaries. China is entering its flood season, with widespread heavy flooding forecast in the coming weeks, when this country is still facing harsh weather conditions. According to China's Ministry of Water Resources, along the Yangtze River, the authorities have issued a flood warning for the Huai River and surrounding areas within its basin in eastern China. Just like the Yellow River, this is China's second-largest river, along with several other rivers in the northeast region. Senior Chinese leaders personally visited the affected areas and called for the implementation of measures to minimize losses as much as possible. From now until the end of 2024 and into 2025, we can easily recognize that China will still have to face extreme weather phenomena caused by nature. Not only that, but last April, a clip went viral on social media and was widely shared, along with the following comment. Here are the natural English translations. The distant road was pitch black like the dead of night, even more terrifying than usual, with torrential rain and violent thunder and lightning. This video was filmed by someone from a remote rural area in southern China. At around 1 p.m. on April 29, 2024. The sky suddenly darkened as if it were night. A fierce storm swept in with blinding lightning and torrents of hail. In early April this year, some internet users captured footage of a waterspout appearing in Hong Kong. Additionally, solar halos frequently appear in Shenzhen and Hong Kong. This strange phenomenon has attracted attention and been widely shared by the online community. But they had no idea that it was an omen from the heavens, foretelling a terrible disaster about to strike. About a week after the sunspot appeared, on April 21, many areas in Guangdong province were hit by heavy rainfall. The heavy rain caused flooding and triggered landslides in Jianglong Town, Thu Quan District. The residents of Song Village and neighboring towns lost contact. On April 27, multiple districts in Guangzhou City were simultaneously hit by heavy rain accompanied by thunder, lightning, and hail. Among extreme weather phenomena, a tornado struck Trung Lac Dam Town in Bach Van District. Wherever the tornado passes, it uproots trees, tears off roofs, and even causes power stations to explode. Additionally, there is also the occurrence of sparking and the generation of electrical sparks. The apocalyptic scene claimed 5 lives, left 33 injured, and caused damage to 14 factories. At the same time, Tangsheng District was also hit by a hailstorm with stones larger than a fist, shattering many car windows and piercing vehicle roofs. The Guangzhou Meteorological Agency warns that extreme convective weather is occurring with increasing frequency. The weather may cause hail, localized tornadoes, and intense short-lived downpours accompanied by violent thunderstorms. Urging residents to promptly implement precautionary measures, especially business owners with factory buildings, to reinforce their metal sheet roofs. And unstable structures at risk of collapse require immediate evacuation of residents. People should limit going outside and temporarily suspend all unnecessary outdoor activities. It turns out that these anomalous phenomena were predicted by ancient Chinese people hundreds of years ago. The Earth Mother Scripture is an ancient work that records predictions about environmental changes and yearly time cycles. Forecast for the year of the dragon as follows. Might, half the fields. The land is fertile, the mulberry thrives, but the grains grow poorly. If the mulberry is abandoned, misfortune will come, but if preserved, prosperity will follow. May the descendants be blessed with divine favor. The peak season, 3 months of freezing cold and falling snow. The prophecy states that in the year of Jopthin, the dragon's head measures 5 inches in height, crops fail to bear grain, and livestock face dire hardship. Gaze at the twinkling stars above, as layers of snow pile high. So, what is the description above trying to convey? Wu is the name referring to the region south of the Yangtze River, encompassing the provinces of Jiangsu, Zhejiang, Fujian, Guangdong, and also Taiwan. Zanha discusses the situation in the first 6 months of the year. Heavy rains accompanied by strong winds from the south are highly likely to cause flooding. Attention should be paid to the rise in infectious diseases. This situation may persist until the 5th lunar month or the 6th solar month before gradually subsiding. This situation may persist until the end of the year before showing signs of improvement. According to the prophecies recorded in the Mother Scripture, the year 2024, Year of the Dragon, is forecast to experience unusual weather, leading to a serious risk of food crisis. The book also mentions a blood sun, so what does this mean? Early in the morning of April 15th, the sky over Wuhan suddenly turned a blazing blood red. On April 21st, the blood moon phenomenon also appeared in Harbin and Jianmuzi. Jiat Jian considers this a weakness. In ancient China, the phenomena of a red moon and a red sun were considered extremely ominous signs. Indicates that society risks descending into unprecedented chaos. On the night of December 30th, 620, during Japan's Asuka period, the Japanese sky was once bathed in a blazing red light, like the hue of a ripe guava. Afterward, Japan underwent a series of transformative upheavals that reshaped the nation. Exactly 3 months later, on the 3rd day of the 3rd month in the year 621. After Prince Shotoku's death, the imperial family fell into fratricidal conflict. It was not until 645, when Emperor Kotoku ascended the throne, that this situation came to an end. At that time, the skies over Beijing, Shandong, and Shaanxi suddenly turned as red as blood, a phenomenon that lasted continuously for 9 days and nights. Both Korean and Japanese historical documents depict the horrifying scenes that unfolded over those 9 days. At that time, Emperor Qianlong was utterly terrified, believing that the heavens were enraged, so he hastily issued an edict exempting the people from taxes. So what about the prophecy regarding who will lead China in the future? A few years after the victory in the war against Japan, Master Zhang Jia, the national advisor of the Republic of China government, once stated, he had foreseen the future. At that time, he offered Chiang Kai-shek an 8-word piece of advice, which was, "Victory does not part him from men, nor does defeat make him abandon lone." He proposed that the nationalist government relocate the capital to Xi'an to stabilize the political situation. Some argue that if Chiang Kai-shek had heeded the advice of Master Zhang Jia, the situation in mainland China today would have been different. When mentioning Grand Master Zhang Jia, people often recall a figure with an utterly mysterious background. Trong Jia. It is the revered title bestowed upon the living Buddha of the Gelug school in Tibetan Buddhism. Dalai Lama. Since the 2nd generation of the Zhang lineage was bestowed the title of Grand Preceptor by Emperor Kangxi. The Zhang family served as Grand Imperial Preceptors for generations under the emperors of the Qing dynasty. In 1912, the Republic of China was officially established. Zhang Jia, 22 years old and a 7th-generation member of the family, openly expressed his support for the Republican regime early on. The nationalist government also warmly welcomed the reception of this great national master. Later, Grand Master Trong Jia continued to propose various policies to the nationalist government. During the resistance war against Japan, he traveled throughout Mongolia to mobilize and bolster the people's morale. Following the incident on July 7, 1937, Japan officially launched a full-scale invasion of China. At that time, there was a vast disparity in military strength between China and Japan. The National Army under General Jia Thatch's command is gradually losing ground, suffering consecutive defeats in crucial battles. Even at the end of that year, the Nanjing Massacre occurred, shocking the entire world. At this moment, Grandmaster Zhang Jia suddenly had an idea and turned to speak to the statue of Jia Shi. By relocating the capital to Trungcan, the resistance against Japan will have a greater chance of victory. Later, an astrologer remarked that Grandmaster Zhang Jia's strategy was exceptionally subtle and astute. For having helped the Jia thatch statue escape its calamity, Mars encroaching on Antares, the Great Wave was a response to the disaster caused by the emperor. The one who bore the brunt of the disaster was none other than Shang Jiashi, the de facto leader of China at the time. Nyat Chiam-tin predicted that without timely countermeasures, the Jia thatch statue would likely be destroyed in that year's battle. And after his death, the Japanese army will conquer the Central Plains. Great Master Zhang Jia likely foresaw this consequence, so he skillfully helped the Jia thatch statue avert its calamitous fate. By relocating the capital, it was possible to protect Chinese territory from foreign invasion. The nationalist government has informed Chongqing that significant military progress has indeed been made. Afterward, with the support of the US military, they succeeded in driving out the Japanese forces. However, just before the anti-Japanese resistance achieved victory, Grandmaster Zhang Jia suddenly conceived another idea. He told us not to return to Nanjing or stay in Chongqing anymore, but to head straight to Xi'an. Why is that? Suddenly, the heavens changed, and at that moment, Hao Dou began to follow behind Gun 2. Unlike Mars, Saturn is a fortunate planet. In the Great Comparison, the people of the Central Plains likened the 2,800 stars in the sky to their corresponding lands on the Earth. Researchers believe that the changing astronomical phenomenon will lead to alterations in related regions on Earth. So, which location on Earth corresponds to the lucky star Gun 2? That is the land of Qin, located in the Shaanxi region. Impossible. The nationalist government is the legitimate authority representing China. He suggested to Chiang Kai-shek that the capital should be moved to Xi'an to stabilize the security situation. Sources indicate that the nationalist government once seriously considered this proposal, and they planned to build the western capital in Xi'an. Unfortunately, the final plan failed, and they were forced to return to Nanjing. The result is they fell into the Nanjing feng shui curse with the saying, "If the capital were established in Nanjing, the dynasty would surely be short-lived and quickly lose its dominion over the Chinese mainland." From 1944 to 1948, I lived in Yan'an, Shaanxi. Blessed star shining from above. It's astounding how that utterly defeated nation managed to turn the tables and reverse the course of the war. In October 1949, our troops achieved victory at Konando on Kinmen Island, Fujian Province. This is the famous Battle of Kim Mon in history. The 201st Division of the Youth Army, directly trained by General Sun Liren. In excellent condition after 3 days of intense fighting, the troops left the dock, advanced toward the island, but were ultimately completely annihilated. Upon hearing the news, Tuong Ji Thatch couldn't help but be stunned, as it had been about a year since. He had never tasted victory before, and the shock of it left him stunned, tinged with a strange, creeping dread. Taiwan is safe now. From then on, the Taiwan Strait began to be divided, fulfilling the prophecy of Grandmaster Zhang when he said, "The prophecy of inevitable failure has come true." However, 72 years later, in the year of the rat 2020, the year of Zhengzi, fate had completely changed. That year, the novel coronavirus outbreak was severe. Under the harsh lockdown measures, people's lives became so miserable that it was even more painful than death itself. The unfinished buildings stand abandoned, with essential supplies and equipment cut off. And various storms and tempests struck one after another, while at the same time, protests and riots also erupted in rapid succession. The year 2020 marked a significant turning point for the communist administration on the island of China. Already estranged by fate and teetering on the brink of collapse, here is the red mouse often spoken of in tales of changing fortunes. So when will the red regime end? The Western troops had barely caught sight of the Southern army advancing when their luck ran dry, like a golden serpent losing its magic. This old saying was bluntly stated to be in the year of the snake. Next 5 billion. So, who will put an end to this? Who exactly are the Southern troops? Let's hear what other sources have to say about this. The Golden Pyramid Stele Inscription. This fossil was found in the Kim Lang mouse species in Nanjing in 1937. Trang Van Mia wrote, "The rose blooms brilliantly among myriad flowers. Atop 2 Kim Peak its beauty shines radiantly. The red flowers have just faded, the white ones are already in bloom. Upon 2 Kim Mountain, my Nyat returns once more." Some people believe that red and white flowers can symbolize the 2 national emblems. The national emblem of mainland China and the national emblem of Taiwan, China. The national emblem of mainland China features a red background, prominently displaying red floral motifs. The national emblem of Taiwan, Republic of China, features a white sun on a blue sky background. The color blue symbolizes purity and innocence, while also representing national spirit and the aspiration for freedom. The color white symbolizes integrity, tolerance, and embodies the spirit of democracy and equality. The 12 bright solar segments symbolize 12 hours, resembling 12 pristine white petals. Where is 2 Kim Mountain located? Coincidentally, it was Nanjing, the former capital of the nationalist government. Who is Mai Nhan? That could be a Vietnamese American. After comparing and cross-checking all the information, we can easily arrive at this explanation. Perhaps thanks to reconciliation or support from the United States, the Republic of China regained control over the mainland Chinese territory, and perhaps they once again moved the capital to Nanjing. By then, the 5-pointed red star flag of China will no longer be present on Chinese soil. Instead, it features the emblem of Taiwan with a deep blue sky and a radiant white sun. The red blossoms are in full bloom, and the white petals have unfurled. At the same time, it was declared that Nanjing would become the new capital of China. The prophetic poem by great master Bo Hu of Thien Tai Mountain also mentioned this. Inner poetry. There were a total of 12 poems. The 11th poem in that collection writes about the future of the Taiwan Strait. This poem was written, Hong Ha Ui and Bach Van Trung drifted like flowers upon the water's flow, indifferent to one another, while the 4 seas shimmered with a deep crimson hue. White bones like frost-laden mountains, the jade rabbit's light slowly rises in the east. Loosely translated as, the crimson evening glow, clouds drifting gently, water flowing with fallen petals, both indifferent to the other. The 4 seas are dyed crimson with blood, white bones piled into mountains across the hills. At the eastern capital, General Jade Rabbit stands tall and unyielding. Some people online explain that when dark red sunsets and streaky clouds appear, it's a sign of impending weather changes. Perhaps it was the mushroom cloud from a nuclear explosion. The 2 sides were scattered in battle, utterly defeated, a truly pitiful sight. The 4 seas churn crimson, white bones piled high as mountains across the wilderness. Here is the stanza from the 11th poem that has been translated. When the coffin is sealed, right and wrong are judged, and the vast sea and sky reveal a scene of peace. A century's grand affair is but a fleeting dream, the golden twilight of a peaceful spring. Rows of lush green coconut palms stretch endlessly across the landscape. When the coffin lid closes, deciding one's merits and sins, that feeling is akin to touching the judgment of the Lord of the underworld. Foretold in Western prophecies, peace shall come. The vast sea and sky evoke a sense of peace. A century's grand affair is but a fleeting dream. This means the unification of the Taiwan Strait, an issue China considers a paramount national priority for the century. Since the founding of the People's Republic of China, that dream has ultimately remained just a distant aspiration, never becoming reality. However, the Taiwan Strait will ultimately be reunified under the administration of the new government. Is this new regime the Republic of China? The prophecy does not specifically mention this, but the capital of the new regime will most likely be Nanjing. The golden glow of the afternoon sun shines brilliantly in the tranquil spring scenery, where lush green mountains stretch endlessly to the horizon. Nanjing was once the capital of 6 dynasties, so it experienced a period of great prosperity. And that place is likened to the rosy blush of the north, to the golden glow of the southern sky at dusk. From that prophecy, we can see that Nanjing has been reborn, reclaiming its former prosperity. China's vast landscape is brimming with vibrant vitality, with everything progressing in a positive direction. In your opinion, how will China's destiny change by 2025? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. Thank you for watching the video until the very end. Goodbye, and see you next time.